Right. And regardless of the channel or platform, right, there's still those traditional pieces of marketing are still valid and still useful.
Oh, absolutely. It's only applied digitally. It's kind of like having a corded phone versus a wireless phone. You know, you
Right.
still are talking to somebody. You're still trying to reach out and connect with someone. So those
Right.
parts of marketing elements are the same. You know, we're still trying to figure out how to have the right messaging and to address it in a relevant way to our target customers or our target prospects, and to be able to do it with the tools, the digital tools that we have. And that's, you know, the fun part, because you get to sit there and go, okay, what's going to work in this particular market, in this particular segment, whether it's a horizontal or vertical market. And you have all of these tools to help you track and measure effectiveness, whereas maybe 10 years ago, it wasn't as prevalent.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I wanted to ask you, from someone who has worked in in business offices and, working with virtual teams, certainly the pandemic, the whole working from home aspect, those are certainly challenges that any manager and leader has to rise to the occasion. What are some of the things that you've learned in your career, uh, pre-COVID and now, during COVID, that helped students kind of get a handle on, well, how do we manage people when we don't see them in the same office or a nearby office?
That's a fantastic question, Mark. And I can share with you my experience from Ericsson in being a large global company has really helped me to understand that, because I got to experience very early on what it's like to have a distributed team, whether that is in North America, whether that is in India, whether that is in Australia or Europe. And it's about communication. So that's the one key thing, is really understanding change management and principles of communication and change management, because
Right.
I directly take those principles in terms of multi-layer of communication, how to really get buy-ins from people and establish a rhythm of the business and a cadence with these key folks that you interact with, whether you have interdependencies to them or if you report to someone or you have a large team that reports to you. It's that rhythm of the business and communication that is so important, because I take a lot of that now and leverage it, especially at zones. That was when, boom, overnight, right? Everybody went work from home. And
Right.
culturally, zones wasn't like that. Culturally, it was everybody coming together, hallway conversations and drop-bys in people's offices. So then what I did was I kicked it into high gear. Boom, we had rhythm of the business, very establish one-on-one meetings with people, and then
Right.
forums of meetings to make key decisions. And remember, within these meetings, it's not just getting together and saying, hey, how are you doing today? Maybe 5 minutes of that, right? Just to get
Right.
to
Right.
warm people up. But then there's an agenda that is established. There's
Right.
a call to action. What are the next steps? Minutes of the
Mhm.
meeting. So those are some of the things that are the tools and enablements that helps organization to continue being productive. And I would say all of that comes directly out of change management 101.
Right. And certainly, I'm sure were some employees who, let's face it, once we get into a habit of working a certain way, it's hard to change.
Yes.
Sometimes we don't want to change, but we have to be sort of in this new era. Well, I guess we've always had to be adaptable to any situation, but now the COVID pandemic and everything has sort of ramped that up. How do you kind of keep folks motivated when they're not really feeling that this is a foreign way to work?
I find that I've had to really understand people a lot more. I realized that, when we're in the office, I take it for granted who the person is. You don't really chat about their lives and what's going on around them, because all of a sudden now COVID is, you're seeing somebody's daughter or son walking in the background, or
Right.
pets jumping up on, the table, and those things happen, and
Right.
some people have the space in their home to have a private area that doesn't interrupt them. Other people don't. And those are some of the things that I've really become more cognizant of and understanding of, because when people are late, when they have interruptions, things like that, it's fine, right? And to your point, it's
Right.
about being flexible, and I think it's that resiliency to be able to adjust and make things work and still feel that you're contributing to the organization, even though it's all virtual.
Right.
And to me, it's all the soft skills around management that has become the forefront. Having that empathy, having the adaptability, the flexibility, and also recognizing people, recognizing that this is hard, this is challenging, and taking it as it comes in a way where, I share with my team, like, look, I know this is complex for some and for others a bit easier, and we're all
Right.
going to come together and figure it out. So there's that transparency
Hmm.
and understanding how people's worlds are very different than ours, and that ties in actually to one of the marketing management principles about understanding worldviews. And I
Right.
mean, truly worldviews, in that your worldview could be very different from mine, and all of a
Right.
sudden now we're boom clashed together, so that the more we are adapting to others, the more we come together. And I find that's been a big skill that I will always take with me in moving forward from this whole pandemic fun.